Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the 365 Message Center Show. This week, we have many messages like we do every episode. We're going to talk about Copilot Search and how that's coming and general availability and what's the experience like. We're going to talk about Microsoft Teams. Yes, we actually have a non-Copilot message to talk about. Teams is getting a little bit more compact in notifications. And Viva Engage. We are going to be able to segment out our people in Viva Engage. We're going to talk about what does that mean and what's some implications of that. Those messages and a few more about Copilot and Teams and everything else coming up. Stick around. Let's roll the intro.
Rolling that intro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Episode 385.
Oh, it's a nice round number.
Well, it's half a round number, like because it's halfway through a tens group of tens. Yep.
Darrell, how do we want people to engage? No pun intended. Engage with us here on the 365 MCS.
Ooh, I know this one.
Okay.
Watch the show. Leave your comments below. Give Daniel a call. His number is... No. There's all the socials that always matter. And you're not contacting us enough on those socials.
Oh.
Just had to say this. I mean, LinkedIn, probably the most common way people are chatting with us about stuff. Mm-hmm. But, Daniel wants a bit more activity on the Instagrams.
Mm-hmm. One thing, and I don't know, this is probably not the right place to fix this or find out what the answer is, but on Instagram, I just find it very frustrating that URLs are not clickable, you know? So you're like, here's some information. If you want to learn more, here's a URL and it doesn't show, it's very frustrating. It's just, that's just the way it is. I know, but it's just very frustrating. I also don't like that you can't tell when a reel was created.
Oh yeah.
Like it could be from today or a year ago, but it just doesn't tell you. Like, good luck when you're looking at videos. Anyway, sorry.
I see the same thing with YouTube Shorts. Like I see a couple of our more time-sensitive ones, like contribute your short little video to our little project. Keeps popping up occasionally a year later.
Right. Yeah. It's anyway. We're not here to fix that. What we are here to do, people, is to fix the brokenness that is change management within your organization, dealing with the changes that are happening. We have Copilot messages to talk about, of course, because everything's, if it's not renamed to Copilot yet, it will be, but also if it doesn't have Copilot in it, it will. But we do want to talk about Viva. We have a couple of I believe, right? A couple of Viva things,
yes.
And Teams. So I think we should just jump right into it. And, at the top of the show, let's talk about searching and how Search and Copilot how Copilot is bringing back natural language searches. Let me say that.
Bringing back natural language. That's a fair comment. Microsoft 365 Copilot Search General Availability MC11088844. Why did I say 11 but then single out the 8s and the 4s? Not that that's important. If you have used Copilot chat, probably one of the more frequent ways that you have used it is getting help finding things. I know I have. In fact, I think it does a better job than going up to Microsoft Search or going to the search specific. I know it's pretty dangerous to say that, but part of this is because you can describe what you're looking for and you can say in natural language, this is this is related to a thing and a person and an event, and you mash that all together, and Copilot seems to make sense of that. Well, that is a valuable experience that in the new Microsoft 365 Copilot app, your landing page, you start off in chat, much to some people's disgust. But there is that search option, which we used to land on as a default, and that is going to have Copilot powers for it. What does this mean? Sure, you will go into that search box and search for something like you normally will. You pop in some keywords if you want to. It'll come back with results and show you files and people and maybe site names and all the usual things you might see in a Microsoft search. If you use a few more words to describe your query, it could almost be called a prompt. Then Copilot will kick into gear, and it will, at the very top, before your search results, start to answer as if it was a Copilot chat. And it could summarize things for you. It could start giving you work-related sources and sort of point you towards those sorts of things. And then below that, your traditional Microsoft search results, with all the filters that you would normally see too. Now, we liken this to how Bing went in that direction, right, Daniel? Where you go to search for something, you put in some keywords, or maybe in a few words, and you'd get this Copilot response collapsed, and then the results in a traditional search engine sense. This is how I feel that Microsoft's Copilot search, Microsoft 365 Copilot search operates. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's not really what it all should be. They removed natural language capabilities from Microsoft Search. So they introduced it, and we're like, oh, this is interesting. And then they removed it, basically because they wanted Copilot to be your natural language place. And so this is what this is bringing natural language in, right? Again, back to our search experience. It is using the modern search, Microsoft Search results, tweaking that a little bit with selector for results, where it's coming from. But I mean, it's got the filters of what type of information is this, like document, when was it modified, and who, if you're as a filters. But it's the same search. I mean, and it doesn't feel like it's anything more than what you just described, the Bing experience. Although I did like the Bing experience, to be honest, because Copilot sometimes will give you the answer you needed, and you didn't need to go and click on, in those URLs. Although those the people owners of those pages probably would prefer you to click the button instead of Copilot giving you the answer. But I feel I wanted this to be more. I wanted this to be more. I want Copilot to understand metadata. We've been promised that's going to happen at some point, so that these search results are better. I thought this was going to be more than just this. But, Darrell, you pointed out the fact when we're in our prep that, this Copilot results, while great, it gives you kind of results that are maybe a little bit more in depth than a yes, no, one line answer, but it's not reusable, right? Until you do what? Until you interact with it?
Yeah, you from that chat experience, and it is collapsed in this search. As you expand it, you get a Copilot type response, and it's even, for the one test that Daniel and I did, it's sort of sectioned out, and I asked about meetings about training, and so it said, here's the files, and here's a few, and here's the citations if you want to go through it. But yeah, so at the end of that, like maybe I have a follow-up question I want to ask. And so that's what it's leading you into is, sure, you could go through and click through to some of those citations, but maybe you have a question that was prompted from seeing that first result. You type in your reply at the bottom, and it takes you over to a Copilot chat session. It remembers what you talked about from that search page, and it brings you over there to work with it, which I quite like. It then becomes part of your chat history with Copilot. But what we found was, well, what if you want to get back to those search results? There were other things there on the page. Yeah, too bad. Yeah,
because you click on search, and it's just like, okay, what do you want to search about? It's like, well, the thing that I was just searching. I think another benefit that this message doesn't cover, but which is part of the Copilot search feature, is you are able to create acronyms and bookmarks just like you can create those in Microsoft Search. So that's bringing in the kind of the two worlds. And I think that's where the benefit's going to be. I want Copilot integrated with the Microsoft search results, meaning, you know, you have all of those special search features. Plus, I want metadata to be, you know, recognized and used as filters and that kind of thing that we had back with classic search or, you know, PNP search. So bringing that together, that's what I want. But I mean, that's not where we got here. But maybe this is the first step.
Yeah. It's first release, and we probably aren't seeing a lot of the value that's happening underneath as well. I mean, the message details that it's leveraging the Microsoft Graph, but also the Copilot connectors that might be in the background there, and indexing all of that to bring up those results, even from third-party sources. But yeah, that's it's generally available. Targeted release will be early July and completed by mid-July. So it's arriving here now for you. And general availability rolling out mid-August and completed by late August. And Daniel, moving on to the next topic. We're moving away from Copilot for a brief moment. Don't worry. If those of you who breathe Copilot, you will get another breath of something again. But
okay.
Daniel, tell us what are we being notified about here?
Well, we're going to be notified, but in more shorter, compact way. Microsoft Teams compact notification size for users, MC1107491. So just real quick here, there's going to be a new option for users, and it's they have to select this in Teams to be able to, you know, we've been able to select where you want the notification, Teams notification. Someone sends you a message, or you're getting a call, or a meeting is starting that you're invited to. Do you want to join it? You could do that in right, left, top, bottom, whatever, right? Like you could pick that. Now we'll be able to pick between comfy and compact. And I don't like I understand the word comfy, like what they're meaning, but comfy seems to be more compact than regular might be. But just think of comfy as your regular, like your regular size notification, and then compact is a little wee bit compactor. I don't know.
You know what it makes me think of, Daniel? The way that Americans describe their parking spots. You know, you go to a mall and you're like, okay, that's for compact cars and that's for comfy cars.
I don't know. It is. I like this because, frankly, I think a lot of times those pop-ups are taking up way too much space, and when you're in kind of the flow of work and you're interrupted by this big old pop-up thing, so a little compact is a welcome change. So I probably will be changing this. And when will I be changing it, you might ask? Well, targeted release rolling out early July 2025 to mid-July. General availability worldwide rolling out mid-July 2025, late July. And then general availability GCC, GCC High, and DoD will be late July through late July. So instantaneously in July for those in government for that change. I miss Copilot, Darrell. We went and talked about Teams, so let's go back to Copilot and tell me about this. I like this update. It's kind of like one of those, I wish Copilot did this at the begin within this product. Tell us how it's going to change in PowerPoint.
Well, okay. Microsoft Copilot in brackets Microsoft 365. Come on, marketing. Get consistent with your naming. Add topic or topics through Copilot to your existing presentation. MC 11050115 5014 5016. Why do I say it like that, Daniel? Because there are 3 messages that look identical. Even the title is the same. The main difference being they're talking about a different platform. PowerPoint on desktop, PowerPoint on the web, PowerPoint on a Mac. Same thing, right? Well, I mean, the message is the same. Clearly, the platforms are different. But the change is the same. What are we talking about? Daniel wanted to be able to use PowerPoint, Copilot in PowerPoint, say, make me a slide deck. Here's my topic. Here's my prompt. And go away and make me some slides. We could do that. I'll create a slide deck. Happy with that. Shuffle things around a bit. Okay, good. Save it. He gets some inspiration as he's, making his slide decks, because Daniel does. He's like, oh, hey, great thought there. Been talking with Darrell, and he's given me some really good material. Anyway, what we couldn't do was be able to easily add a new slide using using Copilot in PowerPoint. In fact, it would just kind of kick off that whole process again and try and create us another slide deck. But this brings in the ability to, you're in the flow of ideas. Oh, I need another slide for that. Here's my thoughts on this Copilot. And can you create me something just to kick it off and to start me? And while you're doing that, could you just make sure that it looks similar and consistent to the rest of my slides? Thanks. You don't even have to say that now. It's actually part of the update. So that is the verbose way of describing this update that is landing on 3 platforms, desktop, web, and Mac. And Daniel, I'm sure, will make use of it if we ever get stuck in frantically putting our presentations together 5 minutes beforehand.
Well, I think for me, the reason why I wanted this was because when you create, in two reasons. One, when you're like, oh, Copilot, I want you to give me a starter presentation about this and this and this. And it does, and every time it's missing things, right? It misses stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to add this and this and this. Well, you can't use Copilot for that. You've got to go and manually create that and edit it. Well, now you can, and that's helpful. And the second reason was you already have a PowerPoint. You've already created it. You didn't create it. Maybe, you didn't use Copilot or whatever. You have a PowerPoint, and now you want to add a slide or two about a certain topic. Well, you couldn't use Copilot for that. So now you can. So I think this is good I don't think it's going to be perfect, and people are going to have to, tweak it, just like everything Copilot does. You're going to have to change things and make it better, but at least, grabbing some content and creating that would be great.
As a starting point, and without starting again and making it still feel like it's part of the rest of the slide deck. So this is generally available, rolling out early July. It's another one of those instant ones. So begin rolling out early July and finish whenever it feels like it. And next message. Okay. Segue. Copilot. Write me a segue to talk about something we haven't talked about very often. But it's about time we engaged Copilot to work in this space.
Wow. In separate spaces, yeah. Microsoft Viva Engage, introducing segmentation for Personalized Experiences Preview, MC1108827. So this is introducing a new concept within Viva Engage to be able to segment out experiences within Viva Engage for users. And so you think about this in a way of, I can segment and define segments, user segments. So saying everyone from the States, everyone from Europe, everyone from New Zealand, everyone from the IT department, everyone from this subsidiary, this whatever. And defining that as a segment within Viva Engage. Viva Engage in the back end is going to use dynamic groups to manage that. But you're going to define via groups, say, here are the groups of these people. And then Viva Engage is going to say, okay, here's a dynamic group that represents that. And then you're going to be able to segment out your content in Viva Engage that using these segments. And so it uses in the message itself, it's talking about, the steps to be able to enable this. I think there's a little bit more information that's needed in a use case scenario of why you would want to do this and how you would use this. And I think there needs to be some supporting documentation on this. So we know that quite a bit of the Viva product team sometimes comes in and watches the show. So maybe have some more information here, and some links off to some more information here, please. But this is, gives you the steps on how to set it up. But at the very bottom, gives you a little bit of insight into what kind of experience users will have when you have the segmentation. So first off is the content interactions will be tailored for that segment. So feeds, you can think about communities, search will be segmented out for those segments, but also storylines, the content, community content will be segmented out for just the users in that same segment. And you can imagine, you're in a community in this segment and you can't mention people outside of the segment, right? To add, to bring them into this community, for instance.
Oh, Daniel, just a question on that then, checking my understanding. Does that mean you can have a community that is open to multiple segments, but the people from within a segment will only see content from others in their segment? This is where more information would be nice for this. Based upon my previous conversations with the product team on this, it would be communities would be only for a particular segment. It would not be sense. Multiple segments. Yeah,
I could be wrong, so don't. I'd like to be wrong, but I think that's the way it would work. But you could think I might be in a different segment than Darrell. And I'm in this community that's part of this segment. And so when I try to mention Darrell, because I know Darrell works here, I know, I was just emailing him the other day, right? This is just Engage. So I can communicate with him outside of Engage. And I try to add him I can't, because Engage is going to pretend like Darrell doesn't exist.
He can't engage me.
Yep. So I think, like I said, I think this needs more information because there's these questions about how this will actually work in scenarios. I'd really like to get more information on scenario A. Jane is doing this, and that kind of scenario, so people can understand this a little bit better. Because when you start playing around with segmentation, you could have some major impact to your community. Right. And I mean your user community as a whole in your organization, not just...
Well, you segment them, don't you?
Aha, yes. So if you want to be part of this, it is a private preview. You can contact your Microsoft account rep, and they can get you into the private preview. So this is starting end of June, so it's already happened. We'll be making that starting available to people who are interested. And then general availability, they're looking toward late September to be able to roll it out to everybody. Now, I will say, I believe the dates are wrong, because it says general availability worldwide. We will begin rolling out late September 2025 and expect to complete by late September 2036. So I think maybe that's the wrong date. I think it's supposed
quite
to be
a bit of lead time there, eh?
26, but I don't know. Anyway, so if you're interested, reach out to your account rep. Moving right along, again, I very much am missing out on Copilot. That message had nothing to do with Copilot, so let's get back to Copilot, please. But maybe we could stay with Engage?
Yeah, I was thinking I could try and please both sides of that requirement, Daniel, and stay talking about Copilot. Expanded Copilot in Viva Engage updates MC 1104316. Using Copilot in Viva Engage has been a bit limited initially, right? In terms of accessing content. Sure, we can use it to get writing help. But it's this update which actually helps us to take advantage of the Copilot chat experience to ask questions about maybe a community that we're in. And the interesting thing is definitely take a look at the screenshot to get a sense of what's coming up and how it will look. Our Copilot panel, which we have become used to seeing across a number of Microsoft products, that gives us that chat experience. We can talk in a more specialized, focused way about the app that we're currently using. And so you'll be able to ask questions about a community. You'll be able to catch up with what's been happening in the community, rather than reading the whole posts. I like the difference here, how Engage presents that Copilot button. It's a little floating thing down the bottom right-hand corner. Kind of feels like when you go to a website and you've got this little chat body thing that says, I see that you've been looking at this product, can I help you out? But it just sits there, and then that will launch the Copilot chat experience. You'll be able to discover more information about colleagues as well. So there are things that will go across more than just a community, but you can ask questions about colleagues, communities, multiple communities, even storylines, and recall previous conversations, and that you might remember a piece of something from a conversation, and maybe you want to use Copilot Chat to find that instead of the inbuilt search within Engage. These are good updates to Engage and bringing more capability of Copilot into your Engage experience. Anything to add on this, Daniel? What do you think?
I think it's interesting that what you're just talking about, the Copilot icon, that it's going to be floating there that you can click. Why not? Why is that limited to Viva Engage? I'll just ask that question. It's kind of rhetorical, but why can't it be that way in other products? And maybe it is a plan to be another. I don't know. I genuinely do not know. But
what about like when you look at an Engage experience in a community? It doesn't really have a toolbar, does it?
Right.
So it's, whereas within some of the other apps you have a toolbar and you can drop it up there in the ribbon, but Engage is kind of missing that. And if you were to take the reverse of that, imagine having that floater Copilot in Excel instead of it being in the toolbar. Wait, we've already got one of those in product.
Yeah, but I mean, you could think about, there's some products. Let's take SharePoint for instance, that when you scroll down, the toolbar goes away.
Yep.
So, maybe you do need something if you want to promote Copilot there. I feel like, not the top toolbar, I'm just talking, the page toolbar. So I don't know. Would I be surprised? No, I would not be surprised if this showed up in Office. Yes, I still call it Office. In Office apps, in Excel and Word and PowerPoint.
Is that a box product?
Yes. I would not be surprised if it did show up in SharePoint and, Teams. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all of those products were renamed to Copilot too. So at this point, nothing surprises me.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't surprise you then, Daniel, that general availability began rolling out in early July and expected to be completed in end of August. We'll finish on a message that it's deceptively, because the value's hidden. If you look at this and you think, okay, sounds a bit sort of technical to me, but Daniel, I think as you said to me while we were preparing, it could actually open up a number of different avenues to make Copilot even more active.
Or useful.
Useful. Sorry. Yeah, there is a difference.
Dialogs/tasks. I'm sorry. It's not plural. Dialogs/task module support now generally available in Microsoft Copilot agents. MC1108839. So this is bringing into your Copilot agents that you're creating, able to bring in these interactive experiences and into modals using iframes, basically. So really what I'm equating this to is, or I guess a good example of this would be, I'm in chat, I'm in an agent, and I'm having a conversation of, maybe I'm on the IT site, let's say, and there's an agent there to get me help. And so I'm sitting there chatting with this agent, and the agent really has determined through the response and the question and response activities that it can't really help me solve the problem. And so a technician needs to get involved. So the user who's interacting me with the agent needs to open up a ticket. Okay. Well, instead of giving me a link to a ticket, right? Instead of saying, here, go open a ticket, how about giving me a form in the conversation, in an iframe, in the conversation that has the ticket opening experience, has the form for me to fill out right there. I fill it out, boom, done. Now, I could have my agent gather information from me and then ship it off to, through and create a ticket for me in the back end. But I mean, that's just one example here that I think could really make this interactions with Copilot agents very meaningful. And I've said it many times, I want Copilot to do stuff for me and to help my job be easier rather than just giving me information or just creating another document for me, right? I want it to help me get my job done. And this is another way, like instead of shipping me off to a web page to do something via a link that I have to click, let's just put in the thing there within the conversation itself. So there's some information here in the message about what you need to prepare, right? You definitely need to have the custom experience and extensions are updated. Reviewing some information about how to add adaptive card templates, into your task modules, etc. So you can read this, but Darrell, am I too excited about this? I mean, what do you think about, do you have any ideas of how this could be used for organizations to alleviate, clicking off and having to navigate somewhere else or whatever, and bringing in an experience to the user within the Copilot agent conversation within that experience?
I think it will definitely help you to stay maybe in your flow of you're searching for something, trying to find and get help with something. And the agent experience is intended to focus and deliver on a more scoped experience. It could be that it is directly tied to a third-party system and then it's bringing that information through to you in that Copilot chat experience. But this goes that one step further, which makes me think of the vision they had for the Viva connections feed, a dashboard rather, and that this is about bringing little windows through into systems that are important to your flow of work to just get that thing done real quick and then carry on wherever you are currently working. I can see that there's a lot of possibilities. I can also see, and it will depend on the limitations of the system itself, but hopefully it won't get overused in that. I mean, can you imagine a citation in a Copilot response and you click on that and it opens up the Word document in a modal and you can read through and go, okay, yep, that's cool, and then you close it and then you're back into your Copilot chat. Could that be a possibility?
Maybe. Some possibilities are here in the message itself, such as editing records, reviewing structured data, submitting forms, submitting leave requests. So that could be interesting. Escalating support tickets or reviewing dashboards. Those are all suggestions. I think opening this up will really bring ideas to people. I think that just like we started having ideas of where we could put these agents and make them very useful, for our users based upon their flow of work, I think this will be the same. We're going to see a lot of creativity around this, hopefully, coming soon. This feature is available now. They didn't tell us about it until they rolled it out, but it is available now. So for you developers out there creating the Copilot agents, definitely take advantage of this where you see fit within your agents. So looking forward to, and if you already started playing around with this or you have ideas, would love for you to drop them down in the comments of this YouTube video, or hit us up on all the socials at 365MCS. And if you're listening to audio podcast, same thing. Hit us up on all the socials that matter so that we can really learn from you and others can learn from you. So definitely hit us up. Give us your comments, your thoughts. What are your ideas of how this change will impact you and your work or any of the other changes or messages we talked about today? Let us know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear them, and we'd love to learn from you. So please drop us a line.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, episode 386, we'll see you again. Bye for now.
Bye.